Welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. Now we're going to do things a little different. We are going to provide an honest look at Ole Miss athletics for the fan, by the fan, and of the fan. That is what we do. Hell be to me. I'm just kidding. Tune in for some Ole Miss sports news. We're going to give it to you straight. Yeah, right now. The POMcast starts now. It happens now. Holy cow. Listen to me. It's starting. Well, it's going to start right about now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the POMcast. I am your host, Stephen Willis, alongside Corey Burton, who just dropped out for some reason. He'll come back shortly, hopefully. We can talk a little bit about what's going on. Basically, I wanted to have Corey on today because I wanted to talk a little bit about boot camp, the offense, and how right we were leading up to the Ole Miss season with Lane Kiffin and the Baylor system and all of that. Corey Burton from Believe in Georgia Dog. You can catch him at Coach Burton 36. How you doing, Corey? Okay, he's not hearing me at the moment. Let me check real quick. Live output. You got me, Corey? All right. So, let's see. He's texting me at the moment. All right, let's see. Live output is there. I will bring back a session real quick. Just 1 second, everybody. And let's see. And Corey, are you there? All right, we are really just rocking and rolling at the moment. So we're going to basically fix this live on the air, hopefully, and we'll see what we got. Let's see. Let's see. We'll try to bring him back in just a second, so just bear with us while we are doing this. We're basically trying to, we told you it'd be a little bit rough, but we are basically trying to break the machine is what we are doing. What can we do? What can't we do? And right now, let's see, moved over there. All right, let's see. Window. Rendezvous attributes. Let's see. Can you hear me, Corey? You got me at all? Let's see. We'll try to bring it back in just a second. So just bear with us. Can you hear me, Corey? Basically trying to, we told you it'd be a little bit rough, but we are basically trying to break the machine. Yeah. So, welcome to the podcast. It's nothing but dead air and technical issues, but we are trying real hard to bring it in. We're going to bring Corey in just a second. Let's see. All right, let's see. Window, rendezvous. All right, I can hear you clearly, Corey. Let's see. Can you hear me, Corey? You got me at all?
No, can you hear me?
Let's see. All right. So we're going to play this game, and I know this is bad for the viewers, so bear with us. But we're going to try it out. Can you hear me, Corey?
Say that again. Crap. No, I can't hear you.
All right. Let's see. This is what we're going to do. All right. He said he's going to close and reopen. I wonder if he's there now.
For the viewers, so bear with us. But we're going to try it out.
All right, I can hear me, Corey. Can you hear me?
Say that again.
Let's see. Let's do this.
Hey!
Can you hear me? Now you got me?
I got you.
All right. So we're going to start the show a little bit late. It's 11:07 and got to see all the technological issues along with a new system. We told you it'd be pretty rough up until about April. By April, it should be a fine-tuned machine. But Corey Burton from Hillwood High School, assistant coach, and a member with Israel Troop of the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast, along with numerous others. How you doing, Corey?
I'm great, man. And since we last spoke, I've actually added a third podcast. I've got 4 total. I'm on a Legal Motion college football podcast with Matt Perkins and Josh Cook on the Believe Network. And I'm also leading another podcast called Coaching Chatter with Kurt Page and Craig Ladd. That's also on the Believe Network. So I'm with Believe in Georgia Dogs. That's with Israel. Coaching Chatter, Legal Motion, and, of course, Around the SEC with you, my man.
Yeah, and Around the SEC is going to eventually be on this platform. I've already built a little bit of the wireframe of it, so we need to build it up. But as we get closer to football season, we'll do that in earnest. Of course, this podcast and what we're doing, if this interests you, if you're serious about podcasting, we are available for you. We're going to figure out a schedule, and we can do that for a certain price. But it's a way to basically hire somebody to direct it and handle all the switching without actually hiring somebody to direct it and handle all the switching, if you know what I mean. So, Corey, yeah, I wanted to bring you in because about a year ago this time, we did the Boot Camp the Offense series where we looked at Lane Kiffin at FAU and all that and started making predictions of what the offense would look like. How close were we, in your opinion?
I think we were just about as close to spot on as you could be. I think we got the quarterback situation backwards with I didn't think Matt Corral would flourish the way that he did, but he really did. He really came on strong in Lane Kiffin's offense. He is looking to be a perfect fit for what Lane Kiffin's trying to do, and John Rice Plumlee is a great change-up and a great kind of Taysom Hill role that Taysom Hill does with the New Orleans Saints. So I like the dynamic that they have. I like the way that he used his playmakers, and it was a great way to kick off the Lane Kiffin era at Ole Miss. And I think, Steve, we were spot on, and it didn't take as long as I thought it would either. Like the timing almost was seamless from the start.
Yeah, once that Florida game happened, I was a little bit surprised at how well the timing was able to hit up and how quickly they were going. And, I mean, it really happened at a kind of a fast pace. Kenny Yeboah helped that out quite a bit too, though.
Yeah, I mean, having that tight end right there just ignites your offense, just gives you that safety net that you need to be able to get yourself out of trouble if you need. It really helps in the RPO game. And it really helps that Matt Corral is a veteran quarterback, and he's able to pick things up really quickly. And they were able to get a relationship with Corral and the tight end, and then also Jerry Neely as well in the RPO game, and that really kind of helped, I guess, accelerate things.
With Kenny Yeboah and Elijah Moore being gone, and I'm going to take the transfers out at the moment, but who do you see as a potential step up to replace that production going into 2022 or 2021?
It's really kind of up in the air. I mean, I think some of these freshmen that are coming in that we talked about in our recruiting spotlight, I think some of those guys at receiver are going to make a difference. I think it's wide open, to be honest with you, and I think there's a lot of guys that could possibly jump in there and get it.
Yeah, the biggest attribute of this offense, as we've talked about boot camp, the offense and all that, is the flexibility of the offense. It could be an outside receiver as the primary, like you saw with Lane Kiffin and Amari Cooper. It could be an inside guy like Elijah Moore, the tight end. I mean, they've done Kenny Yeboah all the way back. Lane Kiffin is a master of the tight end. Whatever the playmaker is, they have the ability to form the offense to fit them.
Absolutely, and it really helps if you have a jet sweep guy, and I think that will really get that double option, triple option game going, like you saw towards the end of his FAU tenure, and so I think it's going to just depend on who emerges. I mean, is your main target going to be one of your outside guys? If so, you'll probably see a lot of perimeter RPOs, a lot of quick screens out there. If it's a slot guy, you'll see a lot of jet sweep. You'll probably see a lot of bubble. You'll probably see a lot of what a lot of people like to call the glance RPO, where it's not really a slant. It's just kind of like an in-breaking route to grass in the RPO game. And I think you're going to see a lot of creativity with Lane Kiffin moving forward, trying to find that playmaker, whoever that may be.
Yeah, and as you can see, Corey is quite an expert when it comes to football, and especially offensive football. He'll probably stop by at a couple of our virtual watch parties just if he's taking in the game. Maybe we'll get him in then, and we're going to have a good bit of fun. I think I'm going to help him out with his podcast, doing video and this setup, because we're available, like I said, to all of you. So basically right now we're trying to break the system, so technological glitches are going to happen for the next couple of months, but by April we should be full go. What are you hearing from Georgia at this point in time?
I'm hearing that, the offense is still very much intact. Returning JT Daniels is going to be clutch for the Bulldogs. I think having all the guys that were thinking about leaving early and were almost a lock to leave early, returning back for their final year of eligibility, like James Cook and Zamir White. George Pickens obviously didn't elect to come back. He still got one more year regardless. Kyrus Jackson, somebody that was a big-time playmaker, he's coming back. Jermaine Burton was the freshman out of that trio of freshman receivers that really emerged. Just the entire offense, the offensive line, Jamari Sawyer, he comes back. He started at left tackle. That's not his strong suit. At the next level, he's going to be playing in the interior, so he's going to bump down to guard. We signed Amarius Mims to go with Broderick Jones. We have a wealth of talent at the tackle position, so we're able to move Sawyer to the inside. Justin Schaefer coming back as the other guard. That really helps the continuity of that offensive line unit. So the offense is going to should be explosive. Defensively, got a lot to replace, but Jordan Davis coming back at the nose guard is a huge, literally and figuratively, piece of this defense. Trying to find some answers in the secondary, I think, is going to be the big-time question mark for this Georgia defense. But honestly, they're just going to have to get more aggressive back there, or at least on that side of the ball, to keep up with the offense, because the offense is going to be explosive. And the offense, I think, finally, Kirby Smart has unleashed Todd Monken and said, you know what, go with it, man. Just do your thing and score a lot of points. I think you saw that with LSU season before last. You saw it this year with Alabama. It's all about scoring points in a flurry and all about scoring in bunches. And I think Ole Miss is getting to that point. Georgia's going to get to that point. Florida was at that point last year. They fell short to Alabama, but this might have been the best Alabama team to ever take the field in college football history. So there's a dynamic shift in overall philosophy, whereas it used to be in the SEC, defense wins championships, do enough on offense to get you by. Now it's do enough on defense to get you by while the offense scores 40, 50 points. So I think Georgia's going to fit into that mold. They have a lot of guys coming back to be able to do so, Steve. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and we were on the JT Daniels train fairly early on around the SEC. We genuinely liked what he offered and what he brought, and we just wondered why he was kind of just stuck on the bench. And I get, was it injuries? Have we gotten a definitive answer?
He had a hard time. He had a hard time recovering, Steve. His knee, he just couldn't. He didn't trust it because it was the knee he drove into in his throws, and he just didn't trust it, and he just didn't feel like he was healthy enough to go out there and let it rip in an SEC game. And he was almost there for Florida, but not quite. He had a couple setbacks throughout his rehab, but I mean, it was a major knee surgery coming out of USC. Took a lot of time to heal. Didn't get the proper rehab that he would normally get in a normal year. And with the pandemic, he obviously had to spend a lot of time at home and wasn't able to be in the training room getting that rehab that he needed. But he finally just started pushing himself, and he was finally able to come back and start for the Mississippi State game, and he hadn't looked back since.
Yeah, it's a heck of a player, and I'm interested to see if Kirby can actually let go of the reins and let the offense kind of go as opposed to always trying to protect his defense. I'm really interested to see that. Whenever they went no huddle and went with tempo last year, they were very effective.
Well, you saw from the Mississippi State game on, they were explosive offensively. I mean, they were taking shots. Look at the Missouri game when normally in a 2-minute situation, we get the ball back, I think, with 1:35 left on the clock in the first half. Normally, with 70 yards to go, we would probably just run the ball, take a knee, go into halftime, down by 3 or whatever the score was. Instead, he decides that he wants to go for it. And so we just tear down the field in 4 plays and score a touchdown with George Pickens, and then just snatch the momentum from Missouri at that point and take over that game. So that was kind of the unleashing of Kirby Smart. That was kind of the moment that I thought, hey, Kirby Smart finally gets this.
Yeah, and he had a front row seat to that philosophy in action because basically Dan Mullen told Todd Grantham, hey, go out and get a couple of possessions of the game. The offense will handle the rest. And that was kind of their philosophy this year.
It was. And they were, I mean, it was the philosophy of a lot of teams. Just, hey, defense, steal me a couple possessions, and we're good to go. And Florida did that. Todd Grantham did just that, and he was masterful at doing it. And it's finally like Florida was able to get an offense to complement that style of defense because Todd Grantham has always been an aggressive, kind of come after you, blitz heavy type defense and try to steal a couple possessions. He just hasn't had the offense yet to complement that. And so when he's able to do that, you saw what Florida was able to do production-wise. And with a guy like Kyle Pitts, who's going to be a surefire first-rounder, if not a top 15 pick in the NFL draft, that really, really helps. And so that was able – and Georgia, having a fourth-string quarterback against that Florida defense, got off to a hot start in that game, actually, if you remember. And then a couple drops here, a couple bad plays, and a couple turnovers, and a really horrible second quarter kind of gave Florida the momentum to carry that game.
And just looking at the rest of the East, you got a problem at quarterback at Florida with Kyle Trask moving on. Shane Beamer's in year 1. Clark Lee's in year 1. Even though Burton Simmons, congratulations for him for being an ops guy for him. And
general manager.
Yeah, Tennessee's got the McDonald's gate they're dealing with. I mean, where's the challenge going to come from the East for Georgia?
I mean, Florida. Kentucky's got a new offensive scheme, offensive philosophy. They hired somebody they plucked from the Sean McVay tree with the Rams. So I'm interested to see kind of what they have going there. They're probably a year away given the new changes, the recent changes. Tennessee, honestly, probably did the best that they could hiring Josh Heupel. I mean, they're going to be exciting to watch. They may not be very good, but they're going to be exciting to watch because they're going to go at a rapid pace. I mean, they call it, I think, warp speed is what Josh Heupel calls it. And he's going to be good for them, I think, for Tennessee. And I think eventually he'll get them going in the right direction. They just made a great defensive coordinator hire in Tim Banks with Tennessee. So they're probably going to get hammered with sanctions, so they're probably not going to be much of a threat for a couple of years. But I think once they kind of build back, and if Heupel can be successful in this transition, they will be a force to be reckoned with. in the East. Florida, obviously, is always the biggest challenge. Vanderbilt, we have no idea what's going to happen there, but they seem to have a lot of new energy. And South Carolina is just – I'm sorry if you're a South Carolina fan and you're watching the POMcast. I don't really know why you would watch the POMcast if you're a South Carolina fan, but, hey, we welcome everybody. And I kind of feel bad for them because they're kind of pitiful. Auburn rated his staff. I think he hired I think Brian Harsin hired 4 coaches from South Carolina or something crazy like that. So South Carolina will probably be the bottom of the barrel. Vanderbilt will probably be right there with them. Kentucky will be down there, but they're a year away. They're going to be pesky. Tennessee's going to be pesky, but they'll be bad. Then Florida, Missouri will probably be a team that you're looking at going, okay, they played really well in year 1 under Eli Drinkwitz. And so I think Florida and Missouri right now in the short term will be the contenders in the East to match Georgia. Eventually, Tennessee will be the team to match Florida and Georgia, and it'll be kind of like the 90s where you had it was a 3-team race between those 3 teams.
Yeah, and moving over to the West with Alabama going to I can't remember his name, Bryce something. Just slipped me all of a sudden.
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young playing quarterback. Normally, Alabama quarterbacks play a good bit because of the blowouts. He didn't see the field so much. It was basically Mac Jones' show all through the year, beginning to end, and he didn't see the field that much. Yeah. And there's a little bit of uncertainty at the quarterback position there.
Well, there's a lot of uncertainty on the offensive side of the ball because you bring in a new philosophy again with Bill O'Brien. You got a new quarterback again. You got to find a new answer at wide receiver again. For the first time in 4 years, you have to find an answer at running back, which I don't think they've ever had a problem there. So a lot of question marks on the offensive side of the ball, but again, it's Alabama. They'll figure it out. John Mechie will probably be the next guy that comes up, and you'll be like, wow, who is this kid? He's a Canadian. And you're like, wow, John Mechie, who would have thought? But, I mean, I'm not surprised. I won't be surprised if John Mechie emerges as a playmaker. But I am kind of concerned about how Bill O'Brien can mesh into the SEC. He's had a rough go of it at the Houston Texans. I don't know if it was on the coaching side or the general manager's side or if it was because he was trying to juggle both. But the judgment of trading Johnny Hopkins for nothing is just baffling to me.
Yeah, and eventually J.J. Watt. I mean, the Houston Texans, they're a tire fire at the moment. When you look at, like, you got year 2 of Mike Leach, you got, I think, what's going to be the last year of Ed Orgeron. Texas A&M solid. Yeah. The West looks interesting next year.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Texas A&M. They've done a really good job in recruiting. They finished 4th in the Rivals rankings. They've done a tremendous job, and I don't know where the switch flipped for Jimbo there because it was looking like it was going to go downhill, and last year was possibly going to be his last year in College Station. But I think they've done a tremendous job, and they've kind of emerged themselves as the number 2 team in the West. Obviously, Alabama's number 1 until somebody knocks them off, but I think Auburn's going to be sneaky. Ole Miss is going to be sneaky. Arkansas is going to be pesky. Mississippi State's going to – we'll see what they do in year 2. It's always – Mike Leach's philosophy is always tear it down to the ground and build it back up. Mm-hmm. So year 2 is usually way better than year 1 for Mike Leach everywhere he's been. So I don't think State fans should be panicking right now. I think if by year 3 they're still like that, maybe that panic button starts to become in sight. So I don't know. But I think the West is going to be very, very sporty. I think it's going to be Alabama, A&M, and then you're going to have kind of a mishmash of teams for that 3rd spot.
All right. Corey Burton joining us from Believe in Dogs podcast. He's also the assistant coach at Hillwood High School. Are you the offensive coordinator?
That's right. I am. I'm offensive coordinator.
So basically anything with football, nuts and bolts wise, Corey's going to be around to answer some questions. I think he's going to, I haven't asked him yet, but he's probably going to help us with anatomy of a touchdown once we start doing that as a breakdown option. So, Corey, thank you for joining us today. Coming up, we're going to take a short break, and we are going to come back with Chris Thrasher, the Oxford correspondent. Stick around.
Stick around. Don't miss it. Steve, I love your set, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Only 10% of us get enough daily exercise.
This has been the first time I've seen it like up close.
Yeah, I'm really excited. We got a lot of stuff we can do. And I will absolutely help you out on your podcast.
Overweight
you can use my setup for the Wirecast gear.
We spend 6 hours
and basically, the way we can do it, I
can
have 7 people on screen at a time through the rendezvous thing that you used today.
We now have a shorter life
So, I mean, we can do a straight news show, and I don't even have to be on the air.
But give us the right starting sport.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
And we'll never stop.
Appreciate it, Corey.
All right.
Learn how at active4life.ca.
Hey, this is Stephen Willis from Positively Ole Miss. We're almost done with this break. We'll be back with good information quite soon.
The military has been in every generation of my family, and so has VA. It wasn't easy for my dad after Vietnam, but VA helped him and my mom get the home they'd always wanted. My grandpa's been coming to VA since World War II. They even helped him lay to rest one of his battle buddies from Normandy. And me, I followed in their footsteps and served with pride. And now that I'm out of the military, the GI Bill's helping me with school. Every generation of my family has served, and VA has served us all.
The POMcast, Chris Thrasher, Oxford correspondent, joining us. We're here to talk about all things Ole Miss. Last night we had Darby McCranie in today's podcast. Now we get Chris Thrasher on the other side of the coin. How you doing, Chris?
Man, I'm making it, trying to stay warm, man.
Yeah, what's the temperature right now?
Right now it's way better than it was yesterday, man. I think right now it's sitting about 17 degrees, but man, yesterday it was it was down in the single digits. So it's like a heat wave come through today.
Yeah, it is 78 degrees here.
Oh, I'm jealous. I'm super jealous.
Yeah, I've swam 5 times this week, so in an unheated
Oh,
pool.
nice.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So, what are you hearing around Oxford? Looking forward to this LSU game coming up.
Hey, like the feeling was people were worried about us having that whole week off, that it was going to knock us out of our rhythm and we weren't going to be on. And everybody's kind of excited about this LSU game. It gives us a chance to get another quality win to add to that resume, and also it helps us keep that momentum going into the weekend.
Yeah, and a big game. The SEC is doing us a big favor by playing this game also as well, because it would be real easy to cancel it, but they want another Tier 1 opportunity for a potential bubble team inside their conference to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt, man. And this towards the end of the year is when these games really start to matter, man. And we really need to get these quality wins on the resume to make the tournament. So,
yeah, it's a big game. And also, I'm hearing that the baseball tournament has been shifted backwards one day. Is that what you're hearing as well?
That is what I'm hearing. That with this mess coming in, it's knocked it off a day, which. And I think it's basically the support people that is going to have the most trouble traveling, and the team's going to be good. But also with baseball, I don't know if anybody knows, but we're going to be missing Kel Baker at first base too. So that's going to be tough to replace.
What's going on with him?
They're saying it's COVID related, but they can't really give any details about it. All we know is that it is COVID related. So
okay. All right, and Chris dropped off for a little bit. He'll be back in just a second. I did not know about Kel Baker and what that exactly meant. But Chris is back now. We're talking about Kel Baker missing because of COVID reasons. There are obviously Privacy Act stuff involved in this, but that's a big hurt. Any news of potential replacements at first base or DH?
Not that I'm hearing. That's actually what everybody is looking forward to seeing, is how we're gonna replace him at first base, because they have somebody else out. I can't think of what his name is. You might know it, but they just don't know who they're going to put there yet. So we're all looking forward to see what it's going to be.
Yeah, right now Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, as opposed to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the tournament out in Arlington. I think that's all indoors, right? Isn't that a dome?
Yeah, yeah. It is, yeah. And I don't know, I haven't looked into this yet, but, Texas has been hit with huge power outages. I think more than 3 million people out there are without power. And I don't know if that's going to affect it or not either. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, if it gets above freezing, everything should be pretty fine when it comes to power stuff. But basically the Deep South, including Texas, is woefully unprepared for cold weather, and this is just exacerbating that a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've got a little bug in the corner of the screen that's got the temperature in Oxford, Mississippi that just pops up. Just a little reminder to people that it's really cold outside. Or if it's really warm, it's a reminder of what back home feels like. So
speaking of Oxford, Mississippi, man, I don't know if you anybody's read or seen, but man, they've kind of turned downtown into a ski resort. It's
really?
been kind of crazy these past few days. Yeah,
really?
Man, I've seen people pulling people on the skis and snowboards with trucks. I've seen kayaks going down hills and on the campus parking lots, man. And then they had the snowball fight there in the Grove that kind of bled over into Bob Hemingway. It's been crazy, man.
Well, yeah, cold weather brings out the weird thing. You know that little drop off by the student union in between there and Kincannon, where there's a little steep hill going down? Whenever I went to Ole Miss way back when, somebody thought it'd be funny to sled down there, not even realizing that at the bottom of that is that giant sewer drain that sticks up. So it got pretty gnarly pretty quick, but it was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. I think that's the slope I seen the kayak going down, and it didn't end well when they got to the bottom.
Yeah, that sewer drain, it looks pretty and looks like it's a good idea. It's not a good idea. And moving on to football, just asking, have you heard anything about spring ball? Have you heard anything about football at all?
I haven't, man. We're still all waiting on the dates. I think a few other SC teams have. I think might have started naming their spring dates. We're just waiting to hear ours. I hadn't really heard anything.
Okay. Yeah, once spring practice hits, we're going to update over to the left with the depth chart as it's released. Chris, is having a little bit of internet problems being in the cold weather that he is. So just bear with us right now. We're going to get it fixed in the future.
Yeah.
But right now it's kind of a quick turnaround thing. You can see what it looks like. But we're going to do the depth chart on the left side. It's going to be pretty cool. Right now, as you can see, I've been doing a lot of graphics work this week.
Oh, yeah, man. I've been seeing that. You've been playing with it. It looks nice, man.
Yeah.
I can tell you like doing that stuff.
Yeah. There's not much in this world I like more than doing that. I mean, it's just genuinely fun. It takes me about 15 minutes, too, which in other people would take 3 and 4 hours. So.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so Kel Baker, is that the biggest news other than the delay for baseball?
Yeah, as far as I know, man, that's a big hit, man. Kel, he's a fan. That's going to be a big boss.
Is the rotation still looking like Nikhazy, Hoagland, and Diamond?
Yeah, as of right now, unless there's any last-minute changes.
Okay. And the LSU game, of course, if everybody knows, it's not on the bottom of the screen. It will be on the screen tomorrow when we do the POMcast. It's on Thursday at 4 Central, 5 Eastern on the SEC network. It was slated for ESPNU tomorrow night. So be paying attention for that. And anything else we're hearing about basketball, the LSU game? Any travel concerns?
Not that I know, man. Not that I know of. I think as of right now, unless again there's any last minute changes, it looks like it's gonna be on, man. Let's keep that momentum going. Let's get us another W going into this weekend, man, and let's be on fire going into the tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Win by 1, win by 50. It doesn't matter. Just win the game, and then you'll wake up on Friday morning securely in the tournament and only able to lose your way out. That's what Thursday is.
Absolutely, man. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm excited.
All right, Chris Thrasher right here joining us on every Wednesday and Friday on the POMcast. You'll see him in a couple of days, but take care, Chris.
All right, man. Howdy tidy, baby.
Howdy toddy.
You want to answer that, don't you? I bet it's just killing you seeing the soft glow just inches away. Someone wants to tell you something or ask you something. Oh, come on, answer it already! Just so we're clear, that wasn't my fault. Next time, ignore your inner voice. Don't text and drive. A message from Florida's trusted choice independent insurance agents.
Hey, this is Stephen Willis. I just want you to stick around a little longer. We're going to get back to the podcast right after these messages.
Tonight, nearly 40,000 veterans across the country are homeless. These men and women have pledged